Tyler, what song was that you were just playing for the people?
That would be the Yukon fight song right there, John.
Quite interesting. Welcome into the Bench Mob. It's just the four guys here, and also our only live audience member, big fan, Mr. Rod Lebrec. Any words to the people?
How's it going?
All right, guys. Solid introduction there.
I'm sure they'll get back to us.
This is a special Final Four edition of the Bench Mob.
Where we're talking college basketball, changing pace a little bit today.
Yeah. Because why not?
Yeah, why not? We can do whatever we want here on the internet.
In case you missed it, 2 games happened today involving 4 teams, which is why it's called the Final Four.
Thanks, John.
In the first game, Yukon Huskies defeated the Florida Gators by a score of 63-53. And in the second game, Kentucky Wildcats defeated the Wisconsin Badgers 74-73. Quite the game. Guys, let me hear some thoughts.
All right. Well, since the beginning of this season, I have been praising the Florida Gators. I chose them as my national champions last year. Mm-hmm. I picked them from the beginning of the season this
Tonus
year.
Has been telling me all this tournament that when Florida wins, he's going to be very happy because he's predicted it for so long.
And they just took a big fat dump today on the court.
I think it was Connecticut who was doing the dumping.
That's true.
Florida did. They started out
Florida came out very well.
16-4 lead.
Yeah, UConn did not score a point, I believe, for the first 4 minutes.
Yeah, and then UConn ripped off a 35-15 run.
I think it was that full court press that Florida was playing in the beginning. It's just hard for UConn to break it. Like, they'd get through and then they'd be out of shape to run their offense.
Yep.
But after they kind of wore Florida down because they were trying to do it the whole time, which I think was something you can't really ask a team to do against another top-tier team,
right,
they were able to start scoring some points.
Yeah. The last time Florida lost was to UConn.
30 games ago.
Yes, 30 games ago in December.
On a buzzer beater.
Yes, by Shabazz Napier.
And it's really
and if Scotty Wilbekin got hurt towards the end of that game,
Casey Hill didn't play in that game.
Right, it was a diminished Florida roster that went up against that UConn team, and that was at UConn.
Right.
So coming into this game, I figured that UConn, it was a little different because Florida's full strength. It's at a neutral site. I figured Florida would come out, be able to actually pull this one off, and they were outscored. I mean, they just got manhandled for the final 25 minutes of that game.
Yeah, and what really is interesting about this Florida team is because they don't have a ton of NBA prospects, no one's really thought about them as a potentially all-time great team. But 30 games in a row in a major conference, Wichita State, is nothing to laugh at. They've been, and really it's just been their depth. They have so many guys who can go off at any single night, and I really think that's why through this tournament they hadn't had a game closer than in single digits this entire tournament because they have such a balanced roster.
Yeah.
But it really, I got to give the credit to, as it's not a shocker, but Shabazz Napier and Ryan Boatwright, and not even for their offense, for their perimeter defense, they were getting steal after steal. They combined for 4 of them coming from Shabazz Napier, and they harassed Scotty Wilbekin and Michael Frazier, who have arguably been the second best backcourt in this tournament, and to combine 3 for 12 shooting from the field. And I think ultimately Connecticut utterly dominating that backcourt battle. All Florida had to do was play them to a draw, and Florida's front court was going to win the game, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, but let's talk about not only the backcourt of Connecticut, but the backcourt of Florida did a very good job defensively. Their goal for this game was to shut down Shabazz Napier.
And that's what I was going to say.
And they did. I mean, compared to what he's been doing, today he only had 12 points on 3 of 6 shooting.
Which is 10 points less than what he was averaging.
Yeah, I believe he was averaging 23 or 24 points per game for the tournament. So Florida did what they had to do. But Shabazz did a great job of finding open guys, just getting passes off and allowing the rest of his team to step up and win this game.
And so many times when you see, I don't want to call Connecticut less talented because obviously they're a historically great program, but the fact is we're probably the least talented team in this Final Four. And so many times when you see the one-man team in the Final Four, or at least what was considered a one-man team in the Final Four, it's when they lose, it's the star player trying to put it all on his shoulders and force it. Napier did a great job of not doing that shot, made half his shots, only took 3, made 2 for 3 3-pointers, 4 for 4 in free throws, got those 6 assists, and was more than willing to move the ball. And the main beneficiary of that was DeAndre Daniels, 20 points, 10 rebounds, and he's really come to life in this tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this game was just, It was just UConn asserting their dominance.
After that first.
It's quite interesting that you mentioned that fast start by Florida because of the way that their swarming defense was playing. Shabazz Napier did not take a shot for the first, I believe, 4.5 to 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, it took him quite a long time. But, like Tonis was saying, that the Florida backcourt kind of slowed him down and did their job. I think at the same time, that's where Shabazz kind of stood out. Like, he was getting doubled up on at times, but he stayed calm and set up his teammates. Like, just because he didn't score his normal amount of points doesn't mean he didn't play a good game. He played great today, and I think he's a big reason why.
Right. Now I'd like to move on to what I thought was the much better game on the day. Kentucky-Wisconsin final. Kentucky 74, Wisconsin 73. And I'll admit it, I loved watching this Wisconsin team all season. And Kentucky we were talking about how Tonis predicted Florida to win the championship. At the beginning of the season, I thought Kentucky was going to run through everyone. Then they were something like 23-10 during the regular season. Not good at all. And then once they made that SEC tournament run, I actually predicted them to win the championship in one of my brackets just because this team had so much talent and they've somehow managed to put it together. But just look at the gauntlet this team had to go through to get here. An undefeated Wichita State team who, with this Kentucky run, is kind of showing they may well have been the second best team in the country. We'll never know. And then they took on a Louisville team that was playing better than anyone else at the time.
And I predicted them to win the national championship, so thanks, Kentucky.
Well, that's me. It was me. And then Kentucky took on Michigan, led by Nick Stauskas, a team that was shooting incredibly well and playing their absolute best basketball and won arguably the toughest conference in the country. And now this Wisconsin team that was also in that conference, 30-8, just knocked off U of A, shot the lights out, finally 19 for 20 on free throws, 8 for 20 on three-pointers, and Kentucky still won the game. I mean, I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but how do you think this ranks among historically great tournament runs? Obviously, it depends on the result of Monday night's game.
I mean, you have to at least consider it. Like, I can't say it's number one, but you have to at least consider it up there along the lines of Villanova 1985 as an 8 seed. One of those, just a team that you're not expecting to do anything. Like, I know a lot of people that had them losing to Kansas State in the first round.
Really?
And they're now in the national championship game on the verge of taking home another national championship. So, I don't know. It's a great run for this team.
I'd also like to build off of what Tonis just said and what you mentioned earlier about them beating Wichita State. I thought Wichita State was going to be the team that would have a legendary run and continue its span of undefeated games, but Kentucky flipped the tables and beat them together as a team, and I really feel like that during this tournament they have come together and all their talent has combined in such a way that complements one another. The Harrison twins, Julius Randle being the main option / distributor, guys like Marcus Lee showing up and impressing. Alex Poythress, as well as I believe James Young.
Yeah.
Yes.
What you said right there, John, about coming together as a team is why I think it's not really one of the the greatest runs in the history of the NCAA tournament, because I think they have obviously some of the best NBA talent on this team. Like, they're skill wise, these guys have it. They're probably a lot better than the AC. They've lost these games in the regular season because I think they weren't playing as a team. I think come tournament time they figured that out, and that's why they're winning these games. But they have so much talent. It wasn't like these guys came out of nowhere.
No, I was talking about it just in terms, not even from an expectation standpoint. Everyone knew they were talented enough to make this run. I just meant just from the quality of teams they playing Wichita State in a team that didn't lose a game all year. I already went through it, but it just the sheer gauntlet of talent that they had to run through was even for a team as talented as Kentucky, and obviously they're playing their best at the right time. And it's just they've won the final minute, and all of these, they've had 4 consecutive games now that have absolutely come down to the last 30 seconds. And it wasn't even Wisconsin necessarily choking. Obviously, Travion Jackson missed 1 free throw there, but they were 19 for 20 on the the one
free throw that counted, though.
That
final seconds.
To be I mean, they were still up. It's not like they were in a
and it wasn't even bad defense on the last play.
Yeah.
No, they played really well. I mean, he shot 3 free throws and he made 2 of them. That's not a bad day. He put his team up 2 points with little time left, and Wisconsin played great defense at the end.
It was just a great shot by Aaron Harrison.
I mean, a clutch player doing clutch things.
And I think for basketball purists, this Kentucky team is almost the antithesis to everything that they love. They don't pass the ball incredibly well. I think they have something like 16 more turnovers than assists over this tournament. And basically what the broadcasters were talking about during the game today is like the reason this team got so good is instead of coming together as a team, they started playing more as individuals, and instead of trying to pass the ball inside to their big guys, they're letting the Harrison twins and James Young create off the dribble and then letting their bigs just crash the board. And the one thing they haven't faced, with the exception of Louisville, they haven't faced a team, not that there are too many teams in college basketball with a plethora of talented big men like Kentucky, but they haven't faced any team that can match their size. And all they've really been doing is the Harrison twins have done a really good job getting to the rim, finishing there. And then when they haven't finished, Kentucky's bigs have just cleaned it up. It seems like an incredibly simple offense, but that's really what John Calipari's style is: recruit superior talent and just let them do what they do best, and it works.
I mean, in the end,
which
when
is
they
depressing,
but I mean, in the end, it doesn't matter if they win the national championship this year. One, because
I think Kentucky fans would beg to differ.
Well,
that guy who got that tattoo.
I think Drake would be very angry if Kentucky did. Lifelong Kentucky fan.
I mean, in the end, all these guys are getting millions of dollars, and this championship will be revoked in 5 years when the recruiting violations come out.
Give them the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Does UMass not ring a bell, or Memphis? Let's be serious.
All right, we're going to segue here.
Eric Rose and Marcus Camby are now enemies of the podcast. I hope you're happy.
Really quickly before we head out, guys, give me some names of some players who have impressed you or disappointed you, or both, just in the terms of these two games today.
I mean, the obvious answer here is got to be Shabazz Napier, a.k.a. Kemba Walker Jr.
This is what people come to the podcast for.
It really is. The obvious answer is that they're thinking themselves.
We just say it.
Reaffirming your belief. Such a few weeks ago.
Shabazz Napier today just played. I mean, he was the best player on the floor, other than DeAndre Daniels. But Shabazz, 50% shooting, 4-4 from the line, 12 points. But he was the leader on the floor for UConn.
He was the leader on the defense as well.
Yes, that's 100% true.
And he wasn't cold.
No. He stole the ball, I believe, 3 out of the 4 times that he was guarding Scotty Wilbekin during the game. I believe I saw that stat. And he just took notes from Kemba Walker from 2011.
Do you think Kemba just sent him like a PowerPoint? Then he's like, "Oh, this is how you did it." He's like, "It's that simple. I couldn't send it to you earlier. You'd have a better legacy than me." He's like, "All right, I got you."
I'm pretty sure he took notes when he was sitting on the bench for those 2011 games.
Wasn't he like a role player on those teams?
I'll tell you right. In the national semifinals, Kemba Walker played all 40 minutes, scored 18 points to lead the Huskies over Kentucky to get to the championship game. Shabazz played 27 minutes and scored 4 points in that game. And in the championship, Kemba took a lesser role. He scored 16 points, not too much less. He grabbed 9 rebounds, but he wasn't as big a part as Alex Oriaki, scored 11, Jeremy Lamb scored 12, and again, Shabazz Napier played 27 minutes and scored 4 points. I don't know why 27 minutes and 4 points is so popular for Shabazz, but I'm glad he's progressed past that and is leading this UConn team on this incredible
It's really interesting
run.
Because Tyler Olander was a freshman on that team, and he's made a lot of progress over 4 years. In the Elite Eight game as a freshman, he played 3 minutes, and then this year in the Elite Eight game, he played 5 minutes. So he's really put his 4 years to good use and is improved.
Hey, he played 5 minutes in that Final Four game in 2011 and scored 2 points. So good for Tyler Olander.
That is, how many more points did he score today? 2 more. Huh.
Well,
at least he got a degree.
he's got that going for him.
All right, Mr. Prime.
Pretty cool. All right,
what do you have for the people?
My player of this set of games here was Andrew Harrison from Kentucky. I'm going to extend... anyways, I'm going to say that I'm going to extend beyond just these couple games in that he's been a great role player throughout the tournament. He's only a freshman. I'm not sure he's going to enter the draft. I'm thinking he probably won't. It's a pretty popular draft. I think I would recommend to him to wait another year, play another year, increase your role at Kentucky and enter the draft next year. But yeah, he's averaging 11 points a game with 4 assists and 3 rebounds. He's playing really well in the tournament, and I think he's my player of the tournament. So.
All right, I'm going to go with another Kentucky player, Julius Randle. He kind of struggled down the stretch. On Grantland, there's a hypothetical presented where John Calipari went up to Randall and showed him the average pay for the 7th draft position, and then showed him the average pay for the 1st draft position, and then said, "You want that money, don't you, Julius?" And to which Julius responded in the affirmative. And he's been playing like that. He scored
Future Celtic, Julius
16
Randle.
points. Well, it would be good for you because he had 16 points, 5 rebounds today, and was just an absolute beast. No matter who Wisconsin put on him. He just went right to the basket, finished over them, had a bunch of really athletic putbacks, showed a little bit of a jumper, made all of his free throws, and he's a little bit undersized for an NBA power forward, but in the age of stretch fours, he's definitely physical and athletic enough to be in that position. And I think he's going to be a really solid NBA player.
Quite interesting, guys. And with that,
I think we would be remiss not to talk about who we think is going to win it all.
I want one key in who's going to win.
All right. Well, it's going to be a hard-fought matchup, reminiscent of the 2011 semifinal game, in which Connecticut won 56-55. I think it's a little bit higher scoring, but I think the outcome will be the same. Your University of Connecticut Huskies will topple the Wildcats and John Calipari.
I'm going to have to agree with you, Tonis. I think Shabazz goes home and reads over those PowerPoint notes that Gavin was talking about earlier and just leads his team to victory.
Watches that Kemba shot against Pittsburgh about 40 times before the game. And goes out and
breaks Julius Randle's ankles.
Do you think when he shoots, he shouts Kemba?
Cardiac Kemba. No. If he did that, he'd have. Never mind.
If he doesn't shout it, he's praying to him. I'm going to disagree with you guys a little bit. I know Connecticut just seems like they have the it factor, but Kentucky really has the same thing. And it just seems like someone like Aaron Harrison, who's made 3 3-pointers in each of their last 3 wins in the final minute. It just seems like Kentucky is destined to win this tournament. I know Connecticut has that same thing, so we split the destiny factor. I think I'm going to give Kentucky the edge in talent and the edge in front court depth. Maybe Willie Cauley-Stein plays, but even if he doesn't, someone like Marcus Lee and Alex Poitras, who have emerged of late, I think Kentucky ultimately dominates inside in a way Florida couldn't today. And the Harrison twins are too tall. I say that as a metaphor, but I also say that as a literal thing. I think they respond really well to the ball pressure and just pass it over the Connecticut guards' heads and get it inside. Kentucky dominates inside, and Kentucky gets the win.
All right, real quick. For most outstanding player, I'm pretty sure Tyler and I are in agreement that if UConn pulls this out, it's got to be Shabazz.
No doubt.
Gavin, you have a lot of options. Harrison, you got Randall. Who you thinking?
I think it's the Kentucky freshman bankroll.
All of them.
The payroll. I should have said, yeah. No, I think it has to be Julius Randle. Guys like James Young have played incredibly well of late. Aaron Harrison's been super clutch, but I think ultimately Randle's the guy when they need a basket. He's just the raw physical force that goes in and gets it.
Either him or ex-Situate sailor Sam Malone could win the most outstanding player. Shout out to the South Shore.
Hug Drake tonight.
Yes, he did.
Quite the accomplishment. And with that, we're going to head out. Thank you guys for listening to this sort of quickish edition of the Bench Mob. We'll be back later on in the week to discuss our NBA as usual. And peace out, Scrubs.
See you later, Scrubs.